Nordic mythology has monsters and creatures that even the gods themselves fear because of their incredible strength and power. Others can be benevolent, and even the best of companions, beings that offered an explanation of everyday life in the beliefs of the ancient Norse. In this video, we will explore 18 of these fascinating creatures that marked the ancient Norse world. Number 1. Mimir. The name Mimir is often translated as the one who remembers, which already gives a clue to his role as a keeper of knowledge and wisdom. He is best known for his role in the war between the Aesir and the Vanir, two tribes of gods in Norse mythology. At the end of this war, both sides agreed to exchange hostages as a token of goodwill and to seal their peace. Mimir was sent by the Aesir to the Vanir along with another god, Hoenir. While Hoenir was seen as a leader and a great advisor, in reality, he relied heavily on Mimir's advice. When the Vanir discovered that Hoenir was unable to offer wisdom without Mimir at his side, they felt betrayed. As a result, they beheaded Mimir and sent his head back to the Aesir as a warning. After receiving Mimir's decapitated head, Odin, the main god of the Norse pantheon, decided not to let all that knowledge go to waste. Odin performed magical rituals and embalmed Mimir's head to preserve it. Once reanimated, Mimir's head offered Odin advice and wisdom. Mimir, even in the form of a talking head, became one of Odin's most valuable advisors, offering him wisdom and insights from the depths of knowledge. There is a sacred well called Mimisbrunner, or the Well of Mimir, which is located at one of the 3 roots of the Igdrasil, the world tree that connects all the realms in Norse cosmology. This well is said to contain wisdom and knowledge. Odin, in his endless search for wisdom, approached the well. However, Mimir, guardian of the well, asked a price for drinking from its waters. Odin paid the price by sacrificing one of his eyes, which was then thrown into the well. In return, he was able to drink and gain immense wisdom. Number 2. Audumbla. After the formation of the primordial world of ice and fire, Audumbla emerged from the melted drops. Along with her, the first giant being, Ymir, also came into existence. Ymir fed on Audumla's milk, while the cosmic cow was nourished by licking the salty ice blocks of the primordial world. As Audumbla licked the ice blocks, on the 3rd day of doing so, he unveiled a fully formed human being. This being was Buri, the first god and ancestor of the Aesir family, the main pantheon of gods in Norse mythology. Buri had a son named Bor, who in turn was the father of Odin, Vili, and Ve, the gods who would later create the world as we know it, and who would play central roles in many other Norse myths. Number 3. Hugan and Munen. Hugan and Munen are 2 ravens that play an essential role in Norse mythology, specifically in relation to Odin. Hugan comes from Old Norse and means thought. Munen also comes from Old Norse and means memory or mind. Hugan and Munen are faithful companions of Odin, the father of all. They perch on his shoulders and are his eyes and ears in the world. Each day at dawn, Odin sends Hugan and Munen flying around the world to observe events, and then they return at dusk to whisper to him all that they have seen and heard. Ravens are seen as symbols of wisdom and knowledge, something Odin values greatly. The nature of Hugan and Munen, representing thought and memory respectively, underscores Odin's constant search for wisdom and his desire to understand and remember all that occurs in the world. Odin's dependence on these ravens also reflects the ephemeral nature of knowledge and memory. In certain texts, it is mentioned that Odin fears the loss of Munen, memory, more than that of Hugan, thought. Number 4. Berserkers. Berserkers are a fascinating figure in Norse mythology and sagas. Although they are also intertwined with the history and actual warfare practices of the Vikings, here I will focus exclusively on the mythological aspect. The word berserker probably derives from berserker, which in Old Norse means bear shirt. This suggests that these warriors wore bearskins. Another theory holds that it could come from bearsark, meaning shirtless or without armor. According to the sagas, it was believed that berserkers could transform or take on the characteristics of certain animals, especially bears and wolves. This transformation was not necessarily physical, but manifested in their fury and abilities in battle. Warriors who took on the spirit of the wolf were sometimes called Ulfednar, werewolves. Berserkers had a special relationship with the god Odin. They were believed to be warriors chosen by the god, and in many sagas they are described as followers or even direct descendants of Odin. The frenzied and ecstatic nature of berserkers in battle was seen as a manifestation of Odin-inspired rage. One of the most famous characteristics of berserkers was their ability to enter a state of extreme fury in battle, known as Berserkergang. In this state, they were incredibly fierce and seemed to be immune to pain and fear. It was said that during this trance, they did not distinguish between friend and foe and could harm their own allies. It is suggested in the sagas that berserkers may have engaged in specific rituals before battle to induce the rage state. These rituals might have included the consumption of certain substances, dances, chants, or invocations to the gods. Number 5. Garmer. Garm is often described as the guardian of Hell, the realm of the dead. He is said to be bound in front of the cave Nippahellir, and there he performs his watchful duty, similar to the function of the canine Cerberus in Greek mythology, who guards the gates of Hades. During Ragnarok, Garm is freed from his bonds and faces Tyr, one of the bravest warrior gods of the Aesir, in battle. Both Garm and Tyr kill each other during this confrontation. It is important not to confuse Garm with Fenrir, another wolf of great significance in Norse mythology. While Garm guards the gates of Hell, Fenrir is known to be one of Loki's sons and has a more direct role in Ragnarok, where he is prophesied to devour Odin. Number 6. Crosvelger. His role in Norse mythology is relatively limited, and not as thoroughly developed as other characters or creatures. Crosvelger is described as a giant who takes the form of an eagle. He sits at the ends of the world, on the edge of the sky. One of his most distinctive characteristics is that, according to sources, when he flaps his wings, he creates the wind that blows over the worlds. In this way, he is responsible for the winds in Norse cosmology. Number 7. Geri and Freki. Geri and Freki are two wolves that have a prominent role in Norse mythology, closely associated with Odin. Like Hugan and Munen, Odin's ravens, Geri and Freki are close companions of the god. They are almost always at his side, especially on Odin's throne in Asgard, the abode of the gods. There is an interesting contrast here. While Hugan and Munen represent aspects of Odin's mind, thought and memory, Geri and Freki can be seen as representing a more physical or primordial aspect, in line with the wild and predatory nature of the wolves. Number 8. Surtur is the leader and most powerful among the fire giants that reside in Muspelheim, one of the 9 worlds in Norse cosmology. Muspelheim is the realm of heat, flame, and light. Surtur plays a crucial role in Ragnarok. According to prophecy, he will march against the gods at the end of time with his flaming sword, which will shine brighter than the sun. During Ragnarok, Surtur is said to fight the god Freyr, who will not have his magic sword because he gave it away in exchange for love.
I did it for love.
The battle will culminate in Freyr's death, marking one of the many tragedies of this cataclysmic event. After the battle, Surtur will spew fire across the world, consuming and purifying the burning earth, leading to the destruction and eventual rebirth of the world. Surtur's sword is often highlighted in mythological sources due to its destructive power and brilliance. During Ragnarok, its radiance is described as surpassing that of the sun. Number 9. Lindworms. Lindworm are generally depicted as long, elongated snakes or dragons, often wingless. In some depictions, they may have a pair of front legs, but lack hind legs. Their bodies are sinuous and resemble those of giant snakes. While they are found in the mythology and folklore of several European cultures, they are particularly prominent in Scandinavian traditions. They are often associated with evil or danger. They are known to terrorize populations, demand sacrifices, or guard treasures. There are tales in which Lindworm are the result of a curse or spell. In some stories, these beings may be transformations of people, often as a result of an act of evil or some kind of hex. Number 10. Eagle of Igdrasil. In Norse mythology, the eagle has no specific name, but is described as a great eagle that resides at the top of the world tree, Igdrasil. It is one of several creatures that inhabit the cosmic tree, and each has its own significance and function within Norse cosmology. The eagle resides in the upper branches of Igdrasil, near the heavens. Its opposite position is that of the dragon Nidhogger, who gnaws at the roots of the tree in the lower realm in Niflheim. Ratatoskr, the squirrel that runs up and down Igdrasil, acts as a messenger or instigator between the eagle at the top and Nidhogger at the base. According to the sagas, Ratatoskr carries insults between the two, fomenting enmity between the eagle and the dragon. Number 11. Gullen Bursty. Gullen Bursty was created by the dwarves Brock and Sindri as part of a wager with the trickster god Loki. He has the ability to run faster than any horse, even through water or air. This is impressive, considering the importance and speed of horses in Norse mythology. His golden hair glows in the dark, lighting the way for his rider. This characteristic makes him invaluable in the dark of night or in shadowy regions. Gullen Bursty was given to Freyr, the god of fertility, rain, and sun. Freyr is one of the main deities in Norse mythology, and the boar is one of his most distinctive attributes. Gullen Bursty symbolizes power, wealth, and fertility, all characteristics associated with Freyr. Number 12. Skoll and Hati. Skoll chases the sun, the goddess Sunna, across the sky with the intention of devouring her. Hati pursues Mani, the moon god, for the same purpose. Skoll and Hati are said to be descendants of Fenrir, the monstrous wolf son of Loki. It is prophesied that during Ragnarok, both wolves will finally succeed in their hunt. Skoll will devour the sun, and Hati will devour the moon. This act will symbolize the darkness and chaos that will envelop the world during this cataclysm. Number 13. Desier. The Desier are, in general, supernatural female forces. They can be either benevolent or malevolent depending on the circumstances. They are often invoked for protection, especially during birth, death, and battle. They can also be honored to ensure a fruitful year in terms of harvest and well-being. Some interpretations associate the Desier with the Norns, the three female deities of destiny in Norse mythology. However, while the Norns are a specific trinity that determines the destiny of beings, the Desier represent a broader and less well-defined group of spirits or deities. Number 14. Ikir. Ikir is a stag or reindeer that resides in Valhalla, where fallen warriors known as Einherjar are welcomed. He sits on the roof of Valhalla and chews the branches of the Laradar tree. It is not directly specified, but some believe that this tree could be a manifestation of or a reference to the world tree, Igdrasil. From its horns drips dew, which then becomes the rivers of the world. This characteristic makes it an essential figure for the water cycle in the Norse cosmos. This constant generation of water from his body reinforces the interconnectedness of all beings and elements in Norse cosmology. Ikir is mentioned in texts such as the Poetic Edda, particularly in the poem Grimnismal, where his position in Valhalla is described and how dew flows from his horns to form the rivers. Number 15. Hydron. Hydron is a goat in Norse mythology, which like the deer consumes tree foliage and produces mead for the Einherjar. She is described in the Poetic Edda and in the prose Edda. Hydron resides in Valhalla, in the Great Hall of the Fallen Warriors. The amazing thing about Hydron is that, instead of milk, he produces an endless and divine mead that fills a great bowl in Valhalla. This mead is what the Einherjar drink. Number 16. Fylgja. A Fylgja is a guardian or protective spirit that is associated with a person, or sometimes an entire family or clan. These spirits are linked to the person's destiny, and are often considered to be born and die with them. They usually appear in the form of animals, especially in dreams or visions. The type of animal could reflect the nature or character of the person to whom the spirit is linked. For example, a leader or warrior might have a Fylgja in the form of a wolf or bear, while someone of a calmer nature might have a deer or bird. In some sagas and tales, these spirits may also appear in human form, especially as women. These manifestations are usually ancestors or mother figures associated with the person or family. Often, seeing a person's Fylgja, especially in unusual circumstances, can be an omen of death or some other important event. If a person saw his or her own Fylgja while awake, this was generally considered a bad omen. Number 17. Saehrimnir. Saehrimnir is a creature within Norse mythology that plays a unique role in the daily cycle of Valhalla, the great hall where fallen warriors reside. Saehrimnir is an animal, often described as a boar or some form of beast, although its exact nature is not always specifically detailed in primary sources. Each day in Valhalla, it is slaughtered and cooked by the cook of the gods, Andrimnir. Then, his flesh is served to the Einherjar, the fallen warriors who reside in Valhalla. The Einherjar feast on the meat as part of their daily feast, accompanied by mead from the Hydron goat. What makes this boar special, however, is its regenerative capacity. After being cooked and consumed, the next day, it comes back to life, ready to be slaughtered and cooked again in a never-ending cycle. Before I introduce you to the last member of our list, I would like to remind you that we have a special feature, channel membership. This option is one of the best ways to help us keep this space alive, allowing us to offer you at least 2 videos every week. Creating this content requires considerable effort, and relying solely on views and advertising can be tricky. So if you are interested, and of course, if your situation allows it, I invite you to join as a member. This is an excellent opportunity not only to support us, but also to integrate you more actively in our community, participating in the selection of topics and in the planning of future videos. I deeply appreciate your attention and support. And now, without further delay, we continue. Number 18. Svadilfari. Svadilfari is a famous horse in Norse mythology, known mainly for his role in the story related to the construction of the walls of Asgard, the abode of the gods. After the end of the war between the Aesir and the Vanir, the gods decided to build a wall around Asgard to protect themselves from giants and other threats.
Welcome.
A builder offered to build the wall in 3 winters in exchange for the goddess Freyja, the sun, and the moon. The builder had an amazing helper, his horse, Svadilfari, which possessed supernatural strength and stamina. The horse was so powerful that progress on the wall advanced rapidly, and it seemed that the builder would accomplish his task on time. Realizing that the builder would be able to complete the wall in time, and that the gods would therefore have to deliver Freyja and the stars, the gods demanded that Loki find a solution, for it was he who suggested accepting the builder's offer in the first place. Loki, in one of his trademark tricks, transformed himself into a mare to seduce and distract Svadilfari. Without the help of his invaluable horse, the builder was unable to complete the wall in time. Eventually, the builder was revealed to be a giant and was defeated by Thor. Due to the encounter between Loki in mare form and Svadilfari, Loki gave birth to a son, an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. Sleipnir is considered the fastest horse and is Odin's steed.